The night feels like any other as I step into the party, the buzz of chatter and the clink of glasses filling the room. My wife, Vanessa, stands at the center of attention, laughing with that effortless charm she has. People are drawn to her like moths to a flame, and she plays it up, basking in the attention. I've always admired her for that. But lately, something has felt off. She's been distant, coming home late, her phone always buzzing with messages she seems too quick to hide. It started small, just tiny things. You don't want to be paranoid, you know? But once you start seeing the cracks, you can't unsee them. And tonight, I can't help but notice how she leans in a little too close to our friend Mark. His hand on her arm, the way they share a laugh. A knowing laugh. My stomach tightens. No, it can't be what I think it is. I shake the thought off. Maybe I'm being crazy. Still, as I walk towards the bar for another drink, I see her phone left carelessly on the counter. A notification pops up. It's from M. I freeze. My hand hovers over it. Should I? Should I even look? Of course I do. I pick it up and swipe the screen open. My heart sinks when I read the message. Asterisk, I can't stop thinking about last night. That lingerie. God, don't forget to clean the stain before he notices. Asterisk, my world spins. It's Mark, our friend. My wife with him? A wave of rage and betrayal crashes over me, but I keep my face neutral as I set the phone back down. How long have I been a fool? I walk away from the bar, my pulse thudding in my ears. The room feels like it's closing in, the noise of the party fading as I zone in on one thing. I need proof. My heart screams at me to confront them right now, to demand answers, but my brain knows better. I can't just go off on a hunch. I need something solid, something undeniable. From the corner of the room, I watch them, trying to keep calm. Vanessa throws her head back, laughing at something Mark says. I feel sick. Every smile, every touch she gives him now feels like a knife twisting deeper into my gut. They don't even see me. I wonder how long this has been going on, how many nights they've stolen away together while I sat at home thinking she was just working late. I decide then and there that I need to know the full extent of it. Rage might be clawing at me from the inside, but I push it down. No, not yet. I'm going to play it cool. I'm going to be smarter than them. I excuse myself from the party, mumbling something about needing fresh air. Once I'm outside, I pull out my phone and dial a number I hoped I'd never need to call. Asterisk, asterisk, a private investigator, asterisk, asterisk. His name is Chris, recommended by a friend who had gone through something similar. I give him the bare details, just enough to get him on board. I need proof, I say through clenched teeth. I want everything. You'll have it, Chris replies without hesitation. I'll start first thing in the morning. I hang up, feeling a twisted sense of relief. Tomorrow, things will change. Tomorrow, they won't be able to hide behind their smiles, their secrets. I'll have my proof, and when I do, they'll both know exactly who they've been messing with. For now, though, I have to play the part of the oblivious husband. I walk back into the party, my face a mask of calm, even though inside, I'm a storm ready to break. The next morning, I wake up early, barely able to sleep after the revelation from the party. Vanessa is still asleep beside me, her breathing soft and peaceful, as if she hasn't been tearing my life apart behind my back. I feel a surge of anger but force myself to stay calm. Not yet. I have to play this right. I slide out of bed quietly and grab my phone. A message from Chris pops up. I'm on it. We'll follow her today. I respond with a quick thanks, my hands shaking as I send it. I head downstairs, making myself coffee, the normal routine feeling surreal. As I sit at the kitchen table, waiting for the storm that's coming, I replay every suspicious moment in my head. Every late night, every odd excuse. It all makes sense now. I'd been too trusting, too blind. How could I have missed it? Vanessa comes downstairs after a while, giving me a sleepy smile, completely unaware of the storm brewing inside me. She leans in for a kiss, and I force myself to respond, trying not to flinch at her touch. Morning, she says cheerfully, pouring herself a cup of coffee. You're up early. Yeah, couldn't sleep, I mutter. The image of that text message burns in my brain, but I force myself to keep my voice steady. I'm meeting some clients later, she says casually, not even looking at me. Probably won't be home until late. We've got a big campaign coming up. Of course, I say, my words dripping with sarcasm. She doesn't seem to notice. I watch her leave, feeling my jaw clench so tight it hurts. She kisses me goodbye, but this time, I feel nothing. The door shuts behind her, and I exhale, trying to steady myself. Today is the day everything comes to light. Hours pass like years, and then finally, my phone buzzes. It's Chris again. Got something. Want to meet up? I don't hesitate. I tell him where to meet, throw on my jacket, and leave the house without a second thought. My heart races as I drive, my mind cycling through all the possibilities, but nothing prepares me for what Chris shows me when I arrive. He pulls out a folder, thick with photos and reports. It's worse than you think, he says, his voice calm but serious. He hands me the first set of pictures, and I feel my stomach turn. It's Vanessa, clear as day, wrapped around Mark, kissing him like she's done with me countless times. But that's not all. The next few photos show hotel rooms, secret meetings, and intimate dinners. Each image is a stab in the heart, driving the knife deeper. The final blow? A series of texts, worse than the one I saw. Filthy, disgusting words that leave no doubt about what they've been doing, and for how long. A year. A whole year. I can barely breathe. My hands shake as I flip through the evidence, my rage building with every photo, every word. I thank Chris, my voice barely above a whisper, and get back in my car. My knuckles turn white as I grip the steering wheel, trying to process what I've just seen. There's no turning back now. It's time to confront them. As I drive home, my mind races, piecing together how I want this to go down. This isn't just about confronting Vanessa anymore. It's about making them both pay. Mark, the friend who had been in my house, drank my beer, sat at my dinner table. The betrayal feels like acid eating through my insides. I could call her out right now, but no, that's too easy. Too quick. I need this to hurt. I need them both to feel the sting of what they've done. There's a bitter satisfaction in knowing I now hold all the cards. They have no idea what's coming. When I get home, the house is quiet, and I feel the weight of what's about to happen pressing down on me. I sit at the kitchen table, flipping through the photos again. My phone buzzes. It's Vanessa, a casual text about some mundane detail of the day. As if everything is normal. I don't respond. Instead, I start planning. Tomorrow night is the perfect time. We have a small dinner planned at Mark's place. Just the three of us, like old times. How sick is that? They're probably laughing behind my back, thinking I'm too stupid to notice. But tomorrow, I'm going to change everything. I spend the rest of the night preparing. Chris sends me the videos he captured. Security footage of them sneaking into hotels, intimate dinners, stolen moments. It's all there. Every disgusting detail. I burn it all onto a USB drive and make a few extra copies, just in case. Then I draft an email, one for Vanessa, one for Mark. The subject line? You're caught. I schedule them both to send at the same time tomorrow night, right as the confrontation begins. I make sure every detail is perfect because this isn't just about catching them. It's about humiliating them, about making sure they feel every ounce of betrayal I've endured. The next morning, Vanessa acts like everything is normal. She kisses me goodbye before heading off to work, oblivious to the ticking bomb I've set for her. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. But then I remember the photos, the texts, the lies. No, she deserves every bit of this. By the time the evening rolls around, my pulse is pounding in my ears. I dress like nothing's wrong, grab a bottle of wine, and head out to Mark's place. I'm not sure how I manage to keep my cool, but I do. I'm playing the long game now, and patience is the key. When I arrive, they greet me like nothing's changed. Vanessa hugs me. Mark gives me that same friendly grin I've seen 1,000 times. It makes me sick to my stomach, but I smile. I smile because I know what's coming. They pour wine, laugh, make small talk, and I go along with it, waiting for the right moment. When dinner's over, we sit in the living room, and that's when I decide to drop the bomb. I've been thinking a lot about trust lately, I say, swirling the wine in my glass. My voice is calm, measured. Vanessa looks at me, confused. But Mark? There's a flicker in his eyes, just for a second, like he knows where this is going. Oh, Vanessa says, oblivious. What brought that on? I lean forward, my heart pounding, and set my wine glass down on the table. I think trust is everything in a relationship. Don't you? Mark stiffens. Vanessa smiles nervously. Of course. Good, I say, and I pull the USB drive from my pocket. Because I think it's time we had an honest conversation. I watch as the color drains from Vanessa's face. She knows. Vanessa's face turns pale, her smile frozen in place as her eyes flick to the USB drive in my hand. Mark shifts uncomfortably in his seat, his usual cocky demeanor slipping away. I lean back, savoring the moment. What's that? Vanessa asks, her voice shaky, trying to sound casual but failing miserably. Oh, this? I hold up the drive, twirling it between my fingers. Just some memories. Thought we could all watch them together. You know, as friends. Mark's face tightens. He knows he's been caught, and it's taking everything in him not to show it. Vanessa, still trying to piece it all together, glances nervously between us. I'm not sure what you mean, she says, but her voice is trembling. She's scared. Good. I smile, keeping my voice calm, almost too calm. Why don't we find out? I get up, walking to Mark's TV and plugging in the USB drive. The room is so quiet, I can hear my own heartbeat. Vanessa is frozen, but I can see her mind racing, her hands shaking in her lap. Mark looks like he's ready to bolt, but he doesn't move. Not yet. I hit play, and the first video starts rolling. Grainy footage from Chris's surveillance camera. Vanessa, laughing in the lobby of some fancy hotel. Mark's arm around her waist. They walk to the elevator, oblivious to the camera recording their every move. Vanessa gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. Oh my God, she whispers, her eyes wide with panic. She looks at me, pleading. It's not what you think. But I don't let her finish. The next video plays, and it's even worse. It's them in the hotel room, kissing, tearing at each other's clothes, the truth laid bare for all of us to see. Vanessa's face turns red, her eyes brimming with tears as she realizes there's no way out. She tries to say something, but the words catch in her throat. Mark finally speaks up, his voice low, desperate. Man, listen, we didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean for it to happen? I laugh bitterly. How long, Mark? How long have you been screwing my wife? He stammers, glancing at Vanessa, who's now sobbing silently. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I lean in, my voice ice cold. How long? A year, he whispers, hanging his head. Vanessa's sobs grow louder, but I don't feel sorry for her. Not one bit. A whole year, I repeat, the words heavy with disgust. And neither of you thought I'd find out? You thought you could just keep playing me, huh? Vanessa tries to reach for me, her face streaked with tears. Please, I'm sorry. Sorry? I cut her off, stepping back to avoid her touch. You're only sorry because you got caught. She crumbles, falling to her knees, begging now. It didn't mean anything, I swear. I was confused. It was a mistake. A mistake? I laugh again, but there's no humor in it. A year-long mistake? Mark tries to speak, but I stop him with a look that could kill. You don't get to say anything. You're not my friend anymore. I walk back to the table, picking up my phone, and with a few taps, the emails I prepared earlier are sent. Both their phones buzz almost simultaneously. Vanessa, still sobbing on the floor, pulls hers out and looks at the screen. Her eyes widen in horror. What did you do? She asks, her voice barely a whisper. I sent everything, I say, my voice cold and detached. To your family, to your friends, to your boss. Everyone's going to know exactly who you are. Mark looks at his phone, panic setting in. You didn't. Oh, I did, I say, glaring at them both. I'm done being the fool. Vanessa collapses onto the floor, her phone slipping from her hand as she sobs uncontrollably. The weight of what just happened crashes down on her, and she's crumbling under it. Mark, on the other hand, is standing there frozen, his face drained of all color, his hands trembling as he looks at his phone in disbelief. "You ruined me," he says, his voice a whisper. He glances at Vanessa, then back at me, as if searching for some way to fix this, to undo the damage. But there's no going back now. "No," I say, my voice cold and steady. "You ruined yourselves. You both made this mess, and now you're going to live with it." I feel a strange calm settling over me as I stand there, watching them both unravel. The rage that's been simmering inside me for so long has turned to ice. They're not worth my anger anymore. All I feel now is a numb satisfaction. They wanted to play games? Well, now the game is over, and they lost. Mark stumbles toward the door, his face twisted with fear. "I'm going to lose everything," he mutters, more to himself than to me. "My job, my family." I give him a look of pure contempt. "You should have thought about that before you decided to sleep with my wife." He pauses at the door, turning to face me one last time. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he says, his voice trembling. "I didn't mean to hurt you, man." I just stare at him, letting the silence hang between us. There's nothing left to say. He slinks out of the house like the coward he is, leaving Vanessa and me alone in the wreckage of what was once our life. I turn to her. She's still on the floor, her body racked with sobs, her mascara running down her face. She looks up at me, her eyes wide and desperate. "Please, don't do this," she begs. "I'll do anything to fix this, I swear." I shake my head. "It's too late, Vanessa. There's no fixing this." She crawls toward me, reaching out with trembling hands. "I love you," she whispers through her sobs. "I made a mistake, but I love you. Don't throw it all away." I step back, out of her reach. "You threw it away the moment you decided to lie to me. The moment you decided to betray me with him." Her sobs grow louder, more frantic. "I'll quit my job. I'll cut off all contact with him. I'll do anything. Please, just don't leave me." I stare down at her, my heart cold. I remember the good times, the years we spent together, all the love I thought we had. But now it all feels like a lie. A cruel joke. "I already have," I say quietly. Her sobs stop suddenly, and she looks up at me, confused. "What do you mean?" "I've already filed for divorce," I say, watching the shock settle on her face. "Papers should be arriving any day now." She gasps, her eyes wide with disbelief. You can't be serious." I cross my arms, the weight of this moment finally sinking in. "I am. We're done, Vanessa. There's no coming back from this." Her face crumples as the reality of the situation hits her. "No," she whispers, shaking her head. "No, no, no." But it's already too late. The decision has been made, and there's no undoing it. I've been living in this nightmare for far too long, and now it's time to wake up. I grab my jacket and head toward the door, leaving her crumpled on the floor. I don't look back as I walk out, the sound of her sobs echoing behind me. The air outside feels cold and sharp, but for the first time in a long time, I can breathe. As I drive away, I feel a strange sense of peace wash over me. It's not over, not by a long shot. There will be lawyers, fights over assets, and endless messes to clean up. But this part? This confrontation? It's done. The next few days blur into a whirlwind of emotions and paperwork. Vanessa blows up my phone with texts and voicemails, begging for forgiveness, pleading for one more chance. I delete every single message without reading or listening. I have nothing left to say to her. The betrayal has hollowed me out, leaving no space for her in my life anymore. I meet with my lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Kate. She's handled messy divorces before, and when I tell her everything about the affair, the evidence, I see a steely determination in her eyes. "Don't worry," she says, sliding the divorce papers across her desk toward me. "We'll make sure you come out of this with everything you deserve." I sign without hesitation. There's no room for second thoughts, no space for regret. Vanessa's pleas for reconciliation fall on deaf ears, and I refuse to meet with her. She's already dead to me, and I can't be dragged down by her anymore. My focus now is on ending this marriage and getting as far away from her as possible. The legal battle kicks off quickly. Vanessa, in her desperation, tries to play the victim, telling her family and our mutual friends that I'm the one being unreasonable. She spins tales about how it was just a mistake and how I'm punishing her by not giving her another chance. It's pathetic, really, but it doesn't matter. The truth is out there. The photos, the videos, the texts. No one can argue with that. I made sure to send copies to the people who mattered before I ghosted them all. Word spreads like wildfire. Our friends, once so supportive of our marriage, fall silent when it comes to Vanessa. Even her own family distances themselves, embarrassed by the scandal. She's losing everything, just like I planned. Mark, on the other hand, tries to salvage his own life. He quits his job at the company where Vanessa works, probably hoping to escape the fallout. His wife? Yeah, he was married too. Files for divorce as well. She wasn't as oblivious as I had been, it seems. In a sick way, it brings me some comfort knowing I'm not the only one who was betrayed. One day, as I'm sorting through more divorce paperwork, there's a knock at the door. When I open it, I'm surprised to see Vanessa standing there, looking completely wrecked. Her eyes are puffy and red, her clothes disheveled. It's clear she hasn't been sleeping. What do you want? I ask, my voice flat. I need to talk to you, she stammers, her voice cracking. Please, just give me 5 minutes. I want to slam the door in her face, but something inside me stops. Maybe it's morbid curiosity. Maybe it's because I want to see her grovel one last time. Either way, I step aside and let her in. She walks into the living room like a ghost, her shoulders hunched, her hands wringing nervously. I stay standing, watching her, waiting. I know I can't fix what I did, she starts, her voice trembling. I know I ruined everything, but I need you to know. I was confused. I was lost, and I made a horrible mistake. But I never stopped loving you. I laugh bitterly. Is that what you call love? Sneaking around behind my back for a year? She flinches, the words cutting her like a knife. No, it wasn't love with him. I was stupid. I don't even know what I thought anymore. I shake my head, disgusted. You had a choice. You made it. Now you get to live with it. She falls silent, her eyes filling with tears. I miss you, she whispers. I feel nothing. No pity, no sadness. Just a hollow, empty space where my love for her used to be. You should go, Vanessa, I say coldly. There's nothing left here for you. She stands there for a moment, her face crumbling as the reality sinks in. Then, without another word, she turns and leaves, the door clicking shut softly behind her. As I watch her walk away, I realize something. I don't feel angry anymore. I don't feel betrayed. I don't feel anything at all. I'm finally free. The weeks following Vanessa's last visit are strangely calm. It's like a storm has finally passed, and all that's left is the quiet aftermath. The legal proceedings continue, but they've become more of a formality now. Vanessa doesn't fight the divorce anymore. She knows it's over. She's lost her job, her reputation, and me. There's nothing left for her to hold on to. For me, it feels like I'm stepping out of a fog. Every day, the weight on my chest gets a little lighter. My life, once consumed by anger and betrayal, is finally opening up to new possibilities. I hadn't realized how much space Vanessa's deceit had taken up in my head, how it had poisoned every thought, every moment. Now that it's gone, I can breathe again. I throw myself into work, finding solace in the routine. The distraction helps, but more than that, it gives me something to build for myself. I start going out more, meeting friends, grabbing a drink, going to the gym. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about moving past it, about rebuilding the pieces of my life that Vanessa shattered. One evening, I'm sitting at a bar with my closest friend, Dave. He's been my rock through all of this. One of the few people who didn't hesitate to pick a side when everything came crashing down. We're sharing a few beers, talking about everything and nothing. So, how's the freedom treating you? Dave asks with a grin, taking a swig from his bottle. I laugh, shaking my head. Honestly, better than I thought. It's weird. I thought I'd be more messed up after all this, but I just feel lighter. He nods, looking thoughtful. Yeah, man. That's what happens when you cut the toxic stuff out of your life. I take a sip of my beer, the cool liquid a welcome relief. You know what's funny? I say. I thought I'd be angrier. I thought I'd still be seething, wanting to burn her life down. But now, I don't care. Dave smirks. That's because you already torched it. You don't need to care anymore. I chuckle, feeling a sense of closure wash over me. Yeah, I guess you're right. For the first time in a long time, I don't feel weighed down by the past. The scars are still there, sure, but they're healing. Vanessa's betrayal will always be a part of my story, but it won't define me. It won't control me. Not anymore. As the night goes on, Dave brings up something I hadn't thought about in months. So, have you thought about dating again? Or are you taking a break from all that? The question catches me off guard, and I laugh. Dating? After all this? I don't think I'm ready for that yet. Hey, no pressure, he says, raising his hands in mock surrender. But you're free now. You've got options. You don't have to jump into anything serious, but maybe it's time to put yourself out there again. Even if it's just for fun. I sit back, considering it. The thought of dating again feels strange, like trying to remember a language I haven't spoken in years. But at the same time, there's a flicker of excitement. I spent so long stuck in the web of lies Vanessa spun. Maybe it's time I started living for myself again. Maybe, I say, smiling a little. But I'm not rushing into anything. I just want to enjoy this, being on my own for a while. Dave nods approvingly. That's smart. Take your time, man. You've earned it. As we finish our drinks and head out into the cool night air, I realize that for the first time in what feels like forever, I'm not thinking about Vanessa. I'm not thinking about Mark, the affair, the betrayal, or the divorce. I'm thinking about the future. My future. I've been through hell, but now I'm standing on the other side, and it feels damn good. The weeks drift by, and I settle into my new routine. Routine that feels refreshing and unburdened. No more second-guessing where Vanessa is or what she's doing. No more lies or secrets. Just me, my work, and a slowly healing heart. I hadn't realized how much of my life had revolved around trying to fix something that had been broken for a long time. Now, without that weight, everything feels lighter. I'm starting to enjoy the little things again. Early morning runs, grabbing coffee from my favorite spot, the freedom of knowing I don't have to answer to anyone. I start reconnecting with old friends too, people I hadn't seen much of during the final messy years of my marriage. They'd all seen the writing on the wall long before I did, but they never said a word. I don't blame them. It wasn't their place to. One night, a friend from college, Ben, invites me to a small gathering at his place. It's nothing fancy, just a few people, drinks, and good conversation. I almost decline, still wary of social situations after everything that's happened. But then I realize why not. I've been hiding from life for too long, and it's time to step back into it. When I get there, the place is already buzzing with laughter and chatter. Ben greets me with a hearty handshake and a slap on the back. Glad you made it, man, he says, leading me into the living room. It's been too long. He's right. It has been too long since I let myself relax like this. The evening starts off slow, just drinks and catching up with people I haven't seen in ages. Everyone's polite, avoiding the subject of the divorce, but I know it's on their minds. I'm just glad no one brings it up. Then, as the night progresses, I notice her. She's standing across the room, laughing at something one of Ben's friends said. There's something about her energy, easygoing, genuine, that catches my attention. She's not drop-dead gorgeous in a flashy way, but she's the kind of woman who lights up a room without even trying. Her smile is real, not forced, and for a moment, I find myself just watching her, forgetting everything else around me. Ben notices my stare and grins. That's Emma, he says, leaning in conspiratorially. She's cool. Moved to town a few months ago. You should go talk to her. I laugh, shaking my head. Nah, man. I'm not ready for all that. Come on, he nudges. It's just a conversation. No pressure. I hesitate, but something inside me shifts. Maybe it's the beer. Maybe it's the fact that for the first time in a while, I feel interested. I tell myself it's just a chat. Nothing more. No harm in talking. I make my way over, casually sliding into the conversation she's having with a few others. It's light, funny, exactly the kind of thing I need right now. Emma's laughter is infectious, and soon, I'm joining in, the awkwardness I expected never materializing. She's easy to talk to. No pretenses, no walls. Just real, honest conversation. At some point, the others drift away, leaving just the two of us standing by the kitchen. So, she says, turning to face me fully, I don't think we've officially met. No, I don't think we have, I say, offering my hand. Yeah, I know who you are, she interrupts with a playful smile, shaking my hand. Ben's talked about you a lot. I chuckle, feeling more at ease. All good things, I hope? Mostly, she teases. He did mention you've had a rough year, though. There it is. The thing I've been trying to avoid all night. But her tone isn't pitying or probing. It's genuine, curious, but respectful. Yeah, I admit, the weight of the past year settling for a moment. It's been something. I'm sorry to hear that, she says softly, her eyes kind. But hey, you're here. That's something too. I nod, appreciating her words more than I thought I would. Yeah, I guess it is. The conversation shifts back to lighter topics, and before I know it, hours have passed. The party begins to wind down, and as people start leaving, Emma gives me a smile that feels different. It was really nice meeting you, she says, grabbing her coat. Maybe we'll run into each other again. Maybe, I say, smiling back. As she leaves, I realize I'm not thinking about Vanessa. I'm not thinking about the betrayal, the divorce, or the anger. For the first time in a long time, I'm thinking about the future. After that night, things begin to change. Slowly at first, but the shift is undeniable. I'm not clinging to the past anymore. I'm thinking about what comes next. Emma crosses my mind more than I expected, and the thought of seeing her again sparks something in me, a feeling I haven't had in what feels like a lifetime. A few days later, I get a text from Ben. Hey man, Emma mentioned you. She's down for coffee if you are. I laugh when I read it, the casual matchmaking typical of Ben. But honestly, I'm not opposed. Maybe I'm ready for this, or maybe I'm just ready to live again. I text Ben back, telling him to set it up. A day later, I'm sitting in a local coffee shop, sipping an Americano, waiting for her to walk through the door. It feels strange, being here, waiting for someone new. A part of me wonders if it's too soon, if I'm diving into something before I'm fully healed. But the rest of me, the part that's done grieving, done looking backward, reminds me that this isn't about replacing anything. It's about moving forward. When Emma walks in, the first thing I notice is her smile. It's genuine, the kind that makes everything around you seem a little brighter. She spots me immediately and waves, making her way over. Hey, she says as she sits down, her voice warm and easy. Sorry if I kept you waiting. Not at all, I say, feeling that strange nervousness bubble up again. It's been a long time since I've done this, since I've had coffee with someone new, not knowing where it might lead. But that's part of the thrill, isn't it? We fall into conversation easily, like we did at the party. She tells me about her move to the city, her work as a graphic designer, and her love for hiking. I share a bit about my own life, avoiding the heavier topics for now. It's refreshing, talking without the weight of expectation, just two people getting to know each other. At some point, she glances at me, her expression thoughtful. So, she says, stirring her coffee, can I ask you something? Sure, I say, not knowing where this is going. I heard you went through a rough divorce, she says gently, her eyes soft with understanding. I don't want to pry, but how are you holding up? It's the question I've been avoiding, but for some reason, coming from her, it doesn't feel intrusive. It feels genuine. I take a breath, thinking about how to answer. It's been tough, I admit, but I'm getting there. Some days are better than others, but I'm not drowning in it anymore, you know? She nods, her expression sympathetic. I get it. Breakups, divorces, they're messy. They leave scars. But it's good that you're here, that you're moving forward. Her words hit me harder than I expect. I've been so focused on just surviving, I hadn't realized how far I've actually come. Yeah, I say slowly, realizing it's true. I guess I am. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment, both sipping our coffees, and I feel a strange sense of peace wash over me. I'm not expecting anything from this, No whirlwind romance, no rushing into something new. But I like talking to her. I like the way she makes me feel like I don't have to explain myself or pretend I'm not still healing. By the time we finish, Emma smiles at me, that same easy, genuine smile that drew me in the first time. "This was nice," she says, standing up to leave. "Let's do it again sometime." I nod, feeling lighter than I have in months. "Yeah," I say, meaning it. "I'd like that." She gives me one last smile before she heads out the door, and as I watch her go, I realize something. I'm not looking for someone to fill the hole Vanessa left behind. I'm just looking to live my life again. And maybe, just maybe, this is the first step towards something new. The days after coffee with Emma feel different, lighter. It's not like we've jumped into anything serious. We're just two people getting to know each other. But that in itself feels like a big step. For the first time in a long time, I'm allowing myself to let go of the past, to stop replaying all the moments of betrayal, the anger, the bitterness. It's not that those memories don't still sting. They do. But they're not the only thing on my mind anymore. Emma and I start texting now and then, just casual stuff. She sends me photos of her hikes, the scenic views she finds along the trails. I send her snapshots of my dog, Scout, who has been my constant companion through all of this. We make plans to meet again, but there's no rush. For once, I'm content to just let things unfold naturally. In the meantime, I'm rediscovering parts of myself I thought I'd lost during the marriage. I start doing more of the things I used to love before everything became about Vanessa, like taking Scout on long hikes or spending quiet afternoons reading in the park. There's a sense of freedom in it, a sense of reclaiming my own time and space. One afternoon, I'm out with Scout, walking along a wooded trail near the edge of town. The air is crisp, the sun shining through the trees in that perfect late afternoon glow. It's peaceful, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I'm not thinking about the divorce or the anger. I'm just here. As Scout sniffs around, chasing invisible scents, I think about everything that's happened over the past year. The betrayal, the heartache, the moments when I didn't think I'd make it through. It was dark, darker than I realized at the time. But now, standing here, breathing in the fresh air, I realize something important. I survived it. That might sound simple, but it's not. There were times when I felt like I'd been gutted, like the person I used to be had been erased. But I'm still here. I'm still me. Maybe a little scarred, maybe a little wiser, but I made it through to the other side. Scout barks, pulling me out of my thoughts. He's found something to chase, probably a squirrel, and I can't help but laugh as he bounds through the underbrush, tail wagging like crazy. Later that night, I get a text from Emma. "Got a great new trail for you and Scout. Want to check it out this weekend?" I smile, feeling that flicker of excitement again. Sounds good. Scout's in. It's small moments like this that remind me life goes on. The world didn't end when Vanessa cheated on me. It felt like it did, for a while. But now I see that life keeps moving. And maybe that's the beauty of it. I've got a whole new chapter ahead of me, and for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid to turn the page. The weekend rolls around, and Emma and I meet at the trail she mentioned. It's more rugged than the ones I'm used to, but I like the challenge. We walk in comfortable silence for a while, letting the sounds of nature fill the gaps. Scout runs ahead, his energy boundless. At one point, Emma glances at me, a small smile playing on her lips. "You know," she says, "you seem different from when we first met." I raise an eyebrow. "Different how?" "Lighter," she says, her eyes soft. "Like you're not carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders anymore." I think about her words as we keep walking. She's right. I do feel lighter. The weight I've been carrying for so long, the anger, the betrayal, it's still there, but it's not as heavy. It's manageable now. "Yeah," I say after a moment. "I think I'm finally letting go of it." Emma nods, understanding without me having to explain further. We walk in silence again, but it's the kind of silence that feels comfortable, not awkward. It feels peaceful. As the hike continues, I realize I'm not just moving forward. I'm starting to enjoy the journey again. Over the next few weeks, life feels like it's falling into place in a way I hadn't anticipated. Emma and I keep meeting up for hikes, coffee, and the occasional lunch. Nothing serious, but I can tell we're getting closer. There's something about her presence that makes everything feel less complicated. Like I can just be myself without all the emotional baggage weighing me down. I'm not naive. I know there's a lot I still need to process. Healing doesn't happen overnight, and the scars from Vanessa's betrayal still ache sometimes, especially when I see a couple in the park or hear a song that reminds me of our past. But the difference now is that those moments don't consume me. They're fleeting, just a brief shadow that passes by before I return to the present. One Saturday afternoon, I'm in the middle of fixing a leaky faucet when my phone buzzes. It's Emma. Want to grab dinner tonight? My treat. I smile at the text, feeling that familiar flutter of excitement. Sure. Where are we going? I type back, wiping my hands on a rag. She replies almost instantly. There's this little Italian place downtown I've been wanting to try. Meet at 7? I agree, and by the time 7 p.m. rolls around, I'm standing outside the restaurant, the warm glow of the lights spilling out onto the sidewalk. Emma arrives a few minutes later, looking effortlessly beautiful in a casual dress and a leather jacket. I hadn't realized how much I was looking forward to seeing her until this very moment. Dinner is easy, the conversation flowing like it always does. We talk about everything: work, movies, our favorite music, and of course, our mutual love for hiking. I find myself laughing more than I have in a long time, feeling genuinely at ease. There's no pressure, no rush, just two people enjoying each other's company. At one point, as we're sharing a plate of tiramisu, Emma glances at me, a playful smile tugging at the corners of her lips. So, she says, leaning forward a little, are you ever going to tell me more about what happened with Vanessa? Or is that a conversation for another time? I pause, caught off guard by the question. I've mentioned the divorce in passing, but I've never gone into detail. I'm not sure if I'm ready to unpack all of it yet. But something about Emma's openness makes me feel safe, like I can talk to her without judgment. It's complicated, I say after a moment, taking a sip of water. I'm not sure how much you want to know. She tilts her head, her eyes soft and understanding. As much or as little as you want to share. I'm just here. I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the words before I speak. Vanessa and I were married for 6 years. I thought things were good. I thought we were happy. But it turns out she'd been having an affair for the last year. One of our closest friends, actually. Emma's eyes widen a bit, but she doesn't interrupt. She just listens, and I realize how much I've needed to tell someone who isn't wrapped up in the history of it all. I found out through some texts. I continue, my voice steady even though the memories still sting. Hired a private investigator to get the full picture. It was worse than I could have imagined. So, I ended it. Filed for divorce, exposed her, and walked away. Emma's quiet for a moment, processing everything I've just said. I'm sorry you had to go through that, she says softly. I can't even imagine. I shrug, trying to downplay the emotions bubbling under the surface. It was hard. Still is, sometimes. But I'm in a better place now. Moving on. She reaches across the table, her hand brushing against mine. It sounds like you've come a long way. And for what it's worth, I think you're doing great. Her words, simple as they are, hit me hard. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that. Needed to know that someone sees the progress I've made. I smile, feeling something shift inside me. Thanks. That means a lot. As the night winds down, we walk out of the restaurant together, the cool night air wrapping around us. We stand outside for a moment, neither of us ready to say goodbye just yet. Emma looks at me, her eyes bright with that same warmth I've come to appreciate so much. I'm really glad we met, she says, her voice soft. Me too, I reply, meaning it more than she knows. We part ways with a hug, and as I walk back to my car, I realize something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not just for the possibility of something new with Emma, but for myself. For my future. I'm not broken anymore. I'm healing, and for the first time in a long time, I'm excited about what's next. The days following our dinner feel different. Emma and I text more often, making plans for the weekend or sending each other random photos of things that make us laugh. There's no rush, no pressure, but it's clear that something between us is growing. I hadn't expected to connect with anyone so soon after the chaos of my divorce, but life has a funny way of surprising you when you least expect it. One evening, as I sit on the couch flipping through the channels, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Emma. Want to come over for dinner tomorrow? I'm cooking. I can't help but grin. You sure you want me to test your cooking skills? I type back, teasing her. Her response is almost immediate. Challenge accepted. Be here at 7. The next day, I show up at her apartment, a bottle of wine in hand, feeling a mixture of excitement and nerves. It's strange to think that after everything I've been through, here I am, standing on the threshold of something new. But it feels right. When Emma opens the door, she's dressed casually in jeans and a loose sweater, her hair pulled back in a way that makes her look effortlessly beautiful. The scent of something delicious wafts from the kitchen, and she greets me with a warm smile. You made it, she says, stepping aside to let me in. Wouldn't miss it, I reply, handing her the bottle of wine. What's on the menu? She laughs as she leads me into the kitchen. Pasta. Nothing fancy, but it's my go-to. I hope you like carbs. I chuckle, feeling more at ease. I'm a fan. The evening unfolds in a way that feels so natural, so easy. We talk and laugh as she cooks, the conversation flowing effortlessly. At one point, I find myself standing beside her at the stove, stirring the sauce while she chops vegetables. It feels intimate, but not in an overwhelming way, just comfortable. When dinner is ready, we sit at her small dining table, and for the first time in years, I feel completely present. I'm not thinking about the past or worrying about the future. I'm just here, enjoying this moment with someone who feels right. After dinner, we move to the couch, sipping wine and talking about anything and everything. Emma leans back, her legs tucked under her, and I realize how easy it is to be around her. She doesn't pry, doesn't push. She just listens and shares, and it makes everything feel lighter. At some point, the conversation drifts back to relationships, and she asks me a question I hadn't really thought about until now. So, she says, tilting her head slightly, where do you see yourself going from here? Not just with us, I mean in general. I pause, thinking about it. Where do I see myself? For so long, I had been focused on just getting through the days, surviving the fallout of my failed marriage. But now, I see something different. I don't know exactly, I admit, setting my glass down, but I know I'm not stuck anymore. I'm finally moving forward. She smiles at that, her eyes softening. That's good to hear. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment, the weight of her question lingering in the air. I realize that I don't have all the answers yet, but maybe I don't need them. Maybe just knowing that I'm on the right path is enough for now. Eventually, the conversation drifts to lighter topics again, and we laugh like we've known each other for years. It's late by the time I get up to leave, but neither of us seems to mind. As I stand at the door, ready to head out, Emma looks at me with a smile that sends warmth through my chest. This was nice, she says softly. Yeah, I reply, my voice quiet. It was. For a moment, we stand there, the space between us charged with something unspoken. Then, before I can second-guess myself, I lean in and kiss her. It's soft, tentative at first, but she kisses me back, and suddenly, everything feels right. It's not rushed, it's not forced. It's just the next step in this unexpected journey we've found ourselves on. When we pull back, she's smiling, and I can't help but smile too. I'll see you soon? I ask, my voice hopeful. Definitely, she replies, her eyes sparkling. As I walk back to my car, the cool night air wrapping around me, I realize I'm not just moving on, I'm moving forward. For the first time in a long time, the future doesn't feel like a place I'm afraid of. It feels like a place full of possibilities, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. Over the next few weeks, things between Emma and me fall into a natural rhythm. We see each other a few times a week, sometimes for dinner, sometimes just to walk through the park with Scout. Every time we're together, I feel like a little more of the weight I've been carrying falls away. I never thought I'd feel this comfortable with someone again, not after what happened with Vanessa, but Emma makes it easy. One evening, we're sitting on her couch, watching a movie, though I'm barely paying attention to it. Instead, I find myself glancing over at her, feeling that quiet contentment settle over me again. She catches me looking and smirks. "What?" she asks, raising an eyebrow playfully. "Nothing," I say, shaking my head. "Just thinking." "About?" I hesitate, wondering if it's too soon to say what's on my mind. But then I remind myself that I've promised myself no more hiding, no more second-guessing. "About how much things have changed," I say finally. "About how I didn't expect this." She tilts her head, her expression soft. "This? Meaning us?" "Yeah," I admit. "I wasn't looking for anything when we met. After the divorce, I didn't think I was ready for this. But now," I pause, searching for the right words. "I'm glad it happened." Emma's smile widens, and she shifts closer, resting her head on my shoulder. "Me too." We sit like that for a while, the silence between us filled with unspoken understanding. It feels like everything has been leading to this moment. Not just Emma, but my whole journey over the past year. The heartbreak, the anger, the healing. It's all brought me here, to this quiet sense of peace I didn't know I was searching for. As the movie plays in the background, I think about how far I've come. I think about how different things were just a few months ago, when I was still consumed by the betrayal, still haunted by what Vanessa had done. I was convinced back then that I'd never trust anyone again, never open myself up to the possibility of being hurt like that. But now, with Emma by my side, it doesn't feel like a risk. It feels like a chance to build something new, something real. The next weekend, we take a trip up to the mountains with Scout, spending the day hiking along one of the trails Emma found. It's quiet, just the sound of our footsteps crunching on the dirt path and the occasional bark from Scout as he runs ahead. I find myself smiling more than usual, taking in the crisp air, the open sky, the feeling of freedom that comes with being out here. At one point, we stop at a small clearing that overlooks the valley below, the view stretching out for miles. Emma sits down on a rock, and I join her, the silence between us comfortable, natural. Scout flops down in the grass nearby, exhausted from running around all day. "This is perfect," she says softly, her eyes scanning the horizon. "I love it out here." "Me too," I say, though I realize I'm not just talking about the scenery. I'm talking about this moment, about us, about everything that's finally starting to make sense again. As we sit there, watching the sun dip lower in the sky, I feel something shift inside me, a sense of closure, of completion. Vanessa's betrayal had ripped me apart, left me questioning everything. But now it feels like a chapter of my life is coming to a close. Not in a painful way, but in a way that feels right. The wound isn't fully healed, but it's not as raw anymore. I reach over and take Emma's hand, and she smiles at me, her fingers lacing through mine. "What are you thinking?" she asks, her voice gentle. "That I didn't know I needed this," I say quietly. "I didn't know I needed you." She leans in, her eyes shining with that warmth I've come to love. "I didn't know I needed you either," she whispers. We sit there for a while longer, the world around us fading as the sun sets. In this moment, I'm not thinking about the past anymore. I'm not replaying old hurts or wondering what could have been. I'm here, with Emma, and for the first time in a long time, I'm fully present. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a soft golden glow over everything, I realize that I'm not just moving forward. I'm building something new, something stronger, something real. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid. Months pass, and life takes on a rhythm that feels natural, like this was always the way it was supposed to be. Emma and I grow closer, not in a way that's rushed or forced, but in a way that feels right. Every day with her feels like a step further from the pain of the past and closer to the person I've been trying to become. Someone who's not defined by the betrayal or the divorce, but by the strength that came after. The divorce with Vanessa finalizes quietly. No messy courtroom battle, no dramatic confrontation, just the signing of papers and the final severing of ties. I don't feel the satisfaction I thought I might. Instead, there's a sense of peace. The door is closed now, and for the first time, I don't feel the urge to look back. Vanessa tries to reach out a couple more times, but I don't answer. I've let go of that part of my life, and I'm not interested in revisiting it. I don't hate her anymore. In fact, I don't feel much of anything about her at all. That chapter is done, and I'm focused on the new one I'm writing now. Emma is a big part of that. We continue building something real together, something that isn't based on fixing old wounds, but on creating something new. We still go hiking every weekend, Scout always by our side, his energy never fading. We've developed a routine, but it's one that's filled with laughter, with quiet moments, and with a deepening connection that feels natural, not forced. One evening, as we're sitting on my back porch, watching Scout run around the yard, Emma looks at me with a soft smile. "I never asked," she says, her voice gentle. "What do you see in the future? For you. For us." The question doesn't scare me the way it might have months ago. Back then, the idea of thinking about the future, of committing to something new, would have sent me running. But now? Now, it feels different. I see us, I say simply. I see this, what we have, and I see it growing. I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I know I want you to be a part of it. She smiles, leaning into me, resting her head on my shoulder. "I want that too," she whispers. And just like that, something clicks into place. It's not about rushing or making grand declarations. It's about knowing, deep down, that this is right. That after everything I've been through, after all the heartbreak and the healing, I've found something worth holding on to. The months continue to slip by, and with each passing day, I feel more and more like myself again. Only better. I'm not the person I was before Vanessa. I'm someone stronger, someone who has been through the fire and come out the other side. And with Emma by my side, I'm ready to keep moving forward. The scars from the past are still there, but they don't define me anymore. They're just part of the story, a story that's still being written, a story of resilience, of growth, of love found in the most unexpected of places. One day, as Emma and I stand on the edge of another trail, looking out over the mountains, I take her hand in mine. The future feels bright, full of possibility, and for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid of what's to come. "I think we're going to be just fine," I say, squeezing her hand. Emma smiles, her eyes filled with that same warmth that's been there since the day we met. "Yeah," she agrees, her voice soft but steady. "I think so too." As we turn and head down the trail, Scout running ahead of us, I can't help but feel a sense of contentment wash over me. This is my life now, one that's built on strength, love, and the knowledge that no matter what comes next, I'm ready. And I know, without a doubt, that the best is yet to come. Thank you for staying with me through this story. If you've ever had to rebuild your life after heartbreak, or if you found love in the most unexpected places, share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me for more stories of resilience and growth.